Hi friends, if you've been feeling stuck, confused, or afraid to start, this message is especially for you. The door is not closed yet, but it will not remain open forever. Starting today does not erase the past, but it gives meaning to what comes next. And the greatest respect you can give your future self is to stop waiting for permission and begin, not when everything is easy, but while it is still possible. Fear, excuses, and the slow poison of delay. Fear is one of the most subtle and relentless enemies of ambition, not because it is loud or violent, but because it disguises itself as reason, logic, and caution. It convinces you that you are protecting yourself by waiting, that you are making responsible choices by postponing action, that you are smart by avoiding risk. But fear is never protective, it is a thief. Every moment you allow fear to dictate your actions, it steals your courage, your time, and the life you might have had. Excuses are the language fear speaks in. They sound rational and safe, but underneath them lies a quiet betrayal. You say, I don't have enough experience, or I'll start when I have more resources, or it's too early, I'll wait a little longer. And all the while, your dreams are slipping farther away. The problem is not that the world is harsh or that conditions are unfavorable. It is that you are listening to the wrong voice. The voice that whispers hesitation, the voice that overemphasizes comfort, the voice that glorifies preparation over action. Every day that passes while you listen to this voice, a little more of your potential is eroded, a little more of your courage dissipates, and the life you dream of begins to feel more distant. Society itself reinforces this delay. People around you say, wait until you are ready, or start when the time is right. But the time they refer to is imaginary. They speak from fear and conformity, from the need to justify their own waiting, and without realizing it, they are training you to postpone your own greatness. When everyone around you treats waiting as virtue, it becomes easy to internalize it, to believe that hesitation is prudence, that procrastination is patience, and that delay is normal. You watch others move, you hear their success stories, and you think, I will start when I can match them. But life does not operate on fairness, and it certainly does not pause for comparison. The people who succeed are not those who waited for perfect conditions. They are those who decided to act despite the discomfort, despite the fear, despite every internal voice screaming for delay. The truth is that delay is a slow poison. It does not make itself obvious at first. When you wait, it feels safe, comfortable even. You can convince yourself that planning, learning, and preparing will eventually make you ready. You can tell yourself that the years you spend thinking and hesitating are investment in knowledge, but in reality, they are an invisible tax on your potential. With every day of inaction, the weight of regret silently grows. It creeps into your thoughts in quiet moments. It whispers in the gaps of your routines, and one day, without warning, you will notice it has become almost unbearable. It is the feeling of watching opportunities pass by while you are busy convincing yourself that you are being responsible. The feeling of seeing others achieve what you dreamed of while you remain in the comfort of your waiting room, and the realization that life does not provide do-overs. Fear makes the familiar feel safe and the unknown terrifying, even when the unknown is precisely where your dreams exist. It masks itself as wisdom, claiming that careful observation and preparation are smarter than action. But wisdom without action is hollow. Excuses build walls around your life, walls that look like protection but are actually prisons. You may tell yourself, I am just waiting for a sign, or I will start when the timing is perfect. And in doing so, you let the most precious asset you have, time, slip irretrievably through your hands. Every passing day becomes a reminder of what could have been, a day that cannot be regained. The worst part is that delay slowly becomes habit. When hesitation is repeated over weeks, months, and years, it transforms into the default mode of living. You start to define yourself as someone who waits, as someone who is careful, as someone who is never quite ready. And in this habitual waiting, courage becomes foreign, opportunity becomes intimidating, and ambition fades into a quiet resignation. You begin to fear even the thought of starting, not because the path is impossible, but because your mind has been conditioned to associate action with risk and inaction with safety. Yet deep inside, in the quietest corners of your mind, the voice of possibility still whispers. It asks, what if you started now? What if you dared to take that first step? What if your life could be transformed by simply deciding to move? That voice is the only proof that you are still capable, that you are still alive with potential, and that you have not yet surrendered completely. Acting on that whisper is terrifying because it confronts every habit, every fear, and every comfort zone you have meticulously built around yourself. It demands that you look at yourself honestly, acknowledge the years of delay, and still choose to begin. And that is precisely why so few do it. Choosing to start despite fear is the quiet courage that separates those who live fully from those who simply exist. Every great achievement begins with a decision to act before certainty arrives, before conditions are perfect, and before fear has the chance to immobilize you. The longer you wait, the more you give fear the power to define your life, and the more excuses you accept as reason. But the moment you break that cycle, the moment you decide that starting, no matter how small, is better than waiting, you reclaim authority over your time, your potential, and your destiny. This is the harsh truth that most people avoid. Fear will always be there. Excuses will always be ready, and society will always encourage caution. The only way to overcome this invisible enemy is to act now, to start imperfectly, to step into the unknown knowing that action itself is the antidote to hesitation, the cure for fear, and the beginning of growth. Waiting feels safe, but it is quietly lethal. Acting feels risky, but it is the only way to live fully. And once you understand this, once you feel the weight of years spent hesitating, you realize that starting today is not just a choice, it is a necessity. To delay further is to continue a slow surrender to mediocrity. To start now is to reclaim your life before it slips irretrievably through your fingers. Time, regret, and the urgency to begin. Time is the most impartial judge, the relentless observer, and the silent thief of all dreams that remain unpursued. It does not care about your intentions, your talent, or your excuses. It does not pause for preparation, consultation, or permission. Every second that passes is a second you will never get back, and yet most people treat it as though it is abundant, as though it will always be there, waiting patiently for them to catch up. The cruel reality is that life never waits. Opportunities do not knock twice. Moments do not linger. The longer you wait to start, the more distant the life you imagine becomes, and the more you are trapped inside the boundaries of your own hesitation. Regret, unlike failure, is not temporary. It is an echo that lingers through years, a constant reminder of choices you never made and risks you never took. It does not appear overnight, nor does it demand attention immediately. It creeps slowly into your consciousness, a subtle weight you carry in quiet moments, when no one is watching, when the distractions fade, and when your inner voice finally dares to speak the truth. You could have started sooner. You should have started sooner. This voice is not meant to shame you. It is meant to awaken you. But awakening comes only when you are willing to face the consequences of your inaction. You may look at others and feel frustrated or envious, seeing them achieve what you have longed for while you remain trapped in preparation, in waiting, in hesitation. But the truth is that their success is not a judgment on your ability. It is a testament to the courage of starting before they felt ready, before fear paralyzed them, before they allowed delay to solidify into habit. And every moment you spend comparing yourself to them, every day you spend wishing for the perfect time or the perfect plan, you fall deeper into the silent prison of postponement. Time once lost cannot be reclaimed. You cannot rewind the hours, the days, or the years you have allowed to slip through your fingers. And this is why urgency is not simply a suggestion. It is the only logical response to the reality of life. Life is not measured in grand gestures or monumental accomplishments, but in the sum of decisions we make, the moments we act upon, and the courage we summon when fear screams for delay. The years you spend hesitating are the years that could have been filled with progress, learning, and experience. Each day that passes without action is a day where you allow your potential to fade quietly, unnoticed, like a candle left to burn at both ends until it is gone. Regret is inevitable for those who fail to act, not because they lack talent, but because they allowed fear, excuses, and comfort to dictate the pace of their life. The quiet tragedy of waiting is that it feels safe, even productive. Thank you for watching till the end. I hope this message inspired you to take one step closer to your goals. Keep pushing forward, stay consistent, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye and stay motivated.